Suppose we shouldn't tease any longer. Lot to get into today. There is a good chunk of things to get into today. I wish dearly that I could have been live when this was happening, but instead I was stuck 2 hours away from home to having a stock beer, having to do my IRL job. I might tinker with the audio just a smidge. Let me know if I'm too low. By the way, let me know if the audio is too low. I have been trying to nail down the audio since I got one of the outside, well, not outside, but it's the actual HyperX plugin software sort of thing. How are we doing, Broncos country? How are we feeling today? Massive news that we absolutely need to get into. Before we get started, though, we are the 5th fastest growing Broncos channel on YouTube, so don't forget to hit all the buttons. Help me grow. Let's get that to number 1. Boy, howdy, there's some stuff to get into. Broncos trade. I mean, this is an absolute blockbuster swing of a trade. This is putting the chips on the table. The Denver Broncos have traded for Jaylen Waddle of the Miami Dolphins. The Broncos will be sending pick 30, 94, and 130, if I have this correct. Yes, so a first, a third, and a fourth. They get Jaylen Waddle and a 4th round pick, and that would be number 11 overall in the 4th round that they get. So now the Broncos have Jaylen Waddle and 2 4th round picks. Both of them pretty early on in the draft. It's the Saints pick from the Devon Vele trade, and then now the Dolphins pick from the Jaylen Waddle trade. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. I know us Broncos fans have been ragging on the Paytons for doing absolutely nothing in the offseason. Well, nothing to go outwards and get better. This is a massive, massive move. And I will say, Payton earns a little bit of redemption from this. There are still some moves that I do vehemently disagree with, but I have cooled off on a good chunk of them, and we'll get into that kind of in what'll be the B block of the show. And God, I wish I were able to go live as this happened, because this was the biggest news. This is going to be the biggest news of the week, barring another massive star getting traded. But this is huge. And I want to put into perspective for those that are just tuning in or just listening in, the receiver that the Broncos are getting. Because Jaylen Waddle is a guy that has done some good work in his career. And I definitely think that he can come in and be at least the 1A. The gravity of Jaylen Waddle, of his speed, is going to greatly help the rest of the Broncos receivers. And we'll get into that in just a second. But, I mean, here's what we're getting. We're getting a guy that opened his career with 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Little bit of a dip in 2024, missed 2 games with injury, and that was as Tua Tagovailoa was really starting to fall off of the face of the earth. Happy St. Patty's Day, Woofy. Good to see you in here, man. It's been a while. It's been a while. We did get number 17 on the 17th. Very, very cool. I don't know that Waddle is going to be wearing 17 in Denver, because that is Humphrey's number, but there's no way Humphrey hangs on to Jaylen Waddle's number, dude. Come on. That'll be interesting to watch. That'll be interesting to watch. But kind of back on track here, opened his career incredibly strong. 104 catches in 21 with 1,015 yards, 6 touchdowns. Goes off in 22, 1,300 yards on 75 catches, averages 18.1. It's a career high, but it's... he has not recreated that since, but his yards per reception numbers have been in the ballpark, in the zip code, we'll give it. 23 goes for 10-14 on 72 catches, 4 touchdowns, 14.1 per reception. He had 14 total touchdowns in the 2 years before that. as well. 24 was a bit of a dip. 15 games, only 83 targets, career low up to this point, 58 catches, 2 touchdowns, 744 yards, still averaging 12.8 yards per catch, which those are important under the hood numbers to keep in mind as we talk about Jaylen Waddle. This year, back into the ballpark for his targets, 100 targets, 64 catches, 910 yards, 14.2 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns. He had a long this year of 46. Longest in his career is 84. Did that in 2022. This guy is going to really help unlock Bo Nix. Absolutely 100%. I am looking at PFR. I would like to know if I could find his drop numbers, because I think he's not really a guy that I think of when I think of a guy dropping the football. Not the great, obviously, perfect numbers would be zeros across the way. He is privy to some drops, a little bit. I know that was an issue with Denver last year, really the past 2 seasons, but I think the talent with Jaylen Waddle is enough to really outset that, because this guy has burners. This guy runs. He is outstanding in open space, which, for as much as us Broncos fans were whining about the amount of screens getting called, Jaylen Waddle is like your screen guy. This guy is shifty in open space. The guy just moves. That is what he does. And again, absolute burners. I think there was a number that floated around. I think 40% of his... And this is another big thing too. Think of how weak the Broncos have been over the middle offensively. The Broncos have basically been playing without a third of the field, or really half of the field. They have not been able to utilize the middle of the field. Jaylen Waddle, 40% of his production came in the middle of the field last season, which is going to be huge to get Bo Nix a reliable middle-of-the-field target that he can look to on third down. He is going to be the new 3rd and 6 guy. He's going to be the new slant guy. That is what Jaylen Waddle is going to do, and he can do damage with the ball in his hands. Let's keep it moving here. So the drops... not the most ideal. 31 over 5 years, averaging just over 6, has a career drop percentage of 5.7. Did bring that near a career low last season, only 4 drops last season. Again, how many targets did he have? I can't pull the number. Only a 4% drop percentage last season, so again, those are hovering near his career highs. Some good under-the-hood numbers to keep in mind with Jaylen Waddle. Doesn't really fumble ever. Only has 4 career fumbles in 5 years. Still a little more than maybe you'd like, but with how shifty he gets and with how much he dances in the open field, listen, I will take Jaylen Waddle. This is huge. This is massive. And again, I was listening to, I think it was 104.3 The Fan earlier, just driving home from whatever day of work that I was putting up with, and there were some people in their chat saying overpay. I don't think this is an overpay at all, and here's why. I don't think there's a receiver that would have fallen to 30 that Denver would have really been enamored with. I think there were some guys that could have got to 30, maybe an Omar Cooper or a Denzel Boston, but I think KC Conception is going to go a little too early in the draft for Denver to really want to trade up for, and you're trading up for an unknown. So trading for Jaylen Waddle, you have essentially drafted Jaylen Waddle. It's almost the John Franklin Myers argument from a couple of years ago, just kicked up a couple of notches. This is a playmaker. The Broncos have gone out and gotten a legitimate playmaker. And this is just absolute. I mean, this is what everyone wanted. And I think, the Broncos' philosophy has been, hey, the best players you got to go out and trade for. This is 100% the case. When you're looking for a playmaking puzzle piece that is going to come in and immediately raise not just the ceiling, but the floor of the offense as well. Oh, I forgot to turn on my light, I now realize. There we go. That's fixed. Maybe I should get that in shot as well. Put a little credibility to the whole Broncos show thing, you know what I'm saying? But no, Jaylen Waddle is going to make this, he raises the floor of the offense. Granted, there are still needs. And we will talk about that in what will function more as the B block of the stream today. There are still needs, but this is an objectively good move for the Broncos. Because again, you got to think, this is overall considered a weaker draft class. Your first round pick isn't a guarantee that it's really a first-round pick. Just because of the talent pool deteriorating, really, if you're not picking in the top 10 or maybe even the top 15, that first-round pick is a little expendable to go out and get better with, because you are essentially drafting a proven veteran with that first-round pick. And I think Jaylen Waddle is exactly that. If he was coming out in this class, I think he's the best receiver in it. 100%. So you are getting a guy that already has proven production over the course of his career, 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and has averaged at least, I mean, damn near, let's round up just to be frank, 13 or more yards per reception over the past 4 years. Jaylen Waddle is a massive get for the Broncos. And now, depending on the set, you've got 2 guys that can really take the top off of a defense now. In Mims, who, I mean, who knows how he's going to get deployed this season, because for whatever reason, Mims just does not see the field. And to kind of, and this will kind of be the transition into more of the B block. Jaylen Waddle's presence is going to open up some things for the Broncos. If I were a guessing man, which I am, I like to guess. I don't bet, but I guess a lot. If I had to guess, this depth chart is going to look something like Sutton, Waddle, Franklin, Mims, Bryant, Humphrey, something like that. But I don't think Denver has had a receiving duo that like is this dynamic. Okay, you know, obviously we got to throw out the potentially word here. They have not had a receiver room this potentially dynamic since DT and Sanders. And I will stand on that 100%. Jaylen Waddle is coming in to play the Emmanuel Sanders role, the speedy number 2 that you can just absolutely uncork a deep ball to. Bo Nix has the arm to get it there, and I'm willing to attribute this dip in Jaylen Waddle's production over the past 2 seasons with the absolute cliff dive that has been Tua Tagovailoa's play and just the carousel of Dolphins quarterbacks. So that, take that how you will. I am willing to chalk up this dip, the dip in his production, to Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins' problems at quarterback. That is where I'm willing to go with it. He will immediately raise the floor of every receiver on this team. Maybe sans LJH. Okay, but there's LJH is what he is, and that is something that you're not really going to get away from. But he is going to take pressure off Sutton, because now teams are going to have to double bracket Waddle to protect against the deep ball. You get Mims out there as well. You can open up some stuff underneath. He is going to raise Troy Franklin's floor, who hopefully, continues his development. And they were saying this as well on 104.3 when I was listening, but or maybe it was DNVR. Either way, I just needed some Bronco stuff to listen to on the way home. But what I will say, though, he is going to open things up. I think this, in the long run, is going to help Franklin in his development, because he's not going to have as much pressure put on him now with Jaylen Waddle on the field. I think he's going to have a chance to grow a little bit, but he's not going to have as much pressure on him. Sutton's not going to have nearly as much pressure on him. And if we're going by the way that I think this depth chart is probably going to shake out, where it's Sutton, Waddle, Franklin, Mims, that's probably going to be an interesting camp battle to see who might win that wide receiver 4 spot in training camp and OTAs and all that good stuff. Waddle, like I said, immediately raises the floor. And to circle back to the point that I was making about what I was kind of hearing on DNVR, everyone was clamoring for the Broncos to run the ball. That just is not their identity. And I think that we have kind of got to come to terms with that the Broncos are not really a running football team. Now with JK, they can run the ball. It's in their arsenal, which again, we'll get to some of the Broncos like retainings in the back end of the B block, C block, whatever you want to call it. There is a lot to get into, because I did address that maybe Payton redeemed himself a little bit with this move in the offseason. I think it explains why Denver was so quiet over free agency, because they were trying to work something out big. They didn't want anyone that was on the market that they couldn't get really for market price. And like the approach or not, it has shaped into this. And I'm not here to be an apologist for how for what the Broncos promised compared to what they actually did. I'm not here to be an apologist for that at all. But this is why guys like me aren't general managers, because we don't have the insider information. We're just reacting to what we see. We're glorified radio hosts. We're not in the building, and so we can only react to what we see. Hence why we're not general managers. If the process led to this, though, I think it definitely redeems some of the offseason, because, again, Bo Nix is going to have a more reliable target to throw to, someone that I think will pretty regularly be open. I think it's going to unlock the explosive vault in this offense that we did not really see last year, that we got glimpses of in 2024 before, the explosives were dialed back. It felt like it really didn't feel like there were a ton of explosive plays from the Broncos on offense. And they were doing it slow and steady. They were getting it done, granted. But I think this adds that explosive element back into this. And with Davis Webb and Bo Nix have got to be the two happiest people on earth right now. Bo Nix, because he has a weapon. He has a bazooka to play with now, to go with the other arsenal of weapons that are, still in development or are just kind of are what they are. I mean, this is huge. This is a net positive. You're flipping your first rounder into a guy that you hope you can give another contract. That's another big thing. Jaylen Waddle's only 27 or 28, one of the two. 27. He'll turn 28 during the season. This is massive. This is big. And his cap hit this season is not even that high. In all honesty. Now, it does turn, his cap hit will become bigger during the length of his contract. I think he gets like a $15 million bonus on Friday. Like if he makes it through Friday, which he will. The Broncos just invested a first round pick into him. So the physical will come tomorrow, which Waddle didn't really have any issues, so I don't imagine he doesn't pass that, barring something absolutely catastrophic that arises. And this, like I keep beating on, huge positive, net positive move that the Denver Broncos really, really desperately needed to make to add something onto this offense that they simply did not have. Now, to address the kind of George Payton, shaped hole in the room, if you will, this does redeem his offseason a bit to me. There are still some moves that I vehemently disagree with. With hindsight, I see why they were made after having some time to think about it and having some time to cool off about it, because in the moment, when you see every other team doing stuff to actively get better, you overreact. And you know what? I fully admit I was part of that. I was angry. And I still do not love every move. I still love the Stranad move. I'm still happy that we got him back on the contract that we did. I'm still cold on Singleton. I'm not rant and rave about Singleton being retained like I was, but I'll probably get flamed for this somewhere, obviously. But like Singleton, I still don't love in pass coverage. I do love the leadership though. I mean, the guy's a fighter. So for as much shit as I will give Alex Singleton, the player, I mean, as the guy, he is one of those glue guys for sure. Troutman is where I'm still really, really questioning it, especially because I think you could have got Daniel Bellinger for cheaper. I think he's a better blocker and has more receiving upside. So like Troutman, I'm still like, how much glue can you realistically have before the glue starts gunking up the machine? Or how many glue guys do you need to retain before the glue starts gunking up the greater whole of the machine? And there were some more. Jaleel on a 1-year deal is kind of odd. I've come around on the JK signing. I think it's fine. Fingers crossed he stays healthy, pretty much, to go with this. So I do think that this move greatly improves George Payton's stock in the Broncos faithful here. I don't hate everything the way that maybe I did on free agency day 1, day 2. And if I'm wrong, then I will happily admit it. If Alex Singleton becomes the greatest pass coverage linebacker in the world over the span of an offseason, I will admit I was wrong. Like I said, I have cooled off on these quite a bit. There are ones that I like. And again, if you're just joining us, we're kind of C block of the show. Did the whole song and dance about Jaylen Waddle. But I did put in the thumbnail that I think Payton redeems himself a little bit today. And he does. 100%. This is that opportunistically aggressive move that they were talking about at the start of the offseason. And this is a net positive. Bo gets a weapon, and a reliable one at that. You get a guy that can turn a 5-yard slant into an 80-yard touchdown or a 60-yard touchdown. Wherever you are on the field, Jaylen Waddle can outrun anybody. It's just an absolute burner that is proven, that can complement this offense, that fits in the offense. I think this is great. This is an absolutely outstanding move. And for all that us Broncos fans have ranted and raved about, myself included, I'm not innocent. Because there are obviously some criticisms to be had. This move right here is an absolute banger. Like we're just gonna put it in layman's terms, absolute banger. 100%. I'm gonna sip my Sprite real quick because it's delicious. No, and to kind of fill everyone in, big trade. If no one has seen the compensation, Denver gave up a first, a third, and a fourth. So that is 30, 94, and 130. And they get Jaylen Waddle and the Dolphins fifth. So Denver moves up in the fourth. They lose the third and the one, so they will not pick until 62 during the draft. What up, Kai? Good to see you in here, buddy. Happy to see you in here. Broncos got Jaylen Waddle. It happened. Payton did a thing. And that was kind of the back half of this stream a little bit, where we were, I do think to a degree that George Payton certainly redeemed himself with this one. And again, this is why us behind the microphone aren't GMs, because we don't know the internal process. All we can do is react to what we see. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we're not GMs. That is why we're not GMs. Again, I've already talked at length about the moves that I really don't love, because there are still some moves that I didn't care for. Singleton, I've cooled off a little bit. Leadership guy, glue guy, green dot, whatever. As long as he's not put in harm's way the way he was last season, somebody's got to put a leash on him. And maybe I'll feel a little better about it. But again, like Stranad, I loved. JK, I've cooled off on a little bit. I like it. As long as Denver is willing to address the position again, one way or another, and bring in somebody that can still bring you more production than RJ. On the ground, because at the end of the day, you do still need to find a way to run the ball. And then, some of the others were just kind of whatever. Denver's tendered so many of their guys that it'd be easier to name who didn't get a tender or didn't get re-signed than who did. But with that being said, we are going to get out of here. But before you go, we are the 5th fastest growing Broncos podcast, according to Mike Carmelini over on Twitter. So if you want to help me get to number 1, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We're on the quest to 500. And yeah, good vibes in Broncos country today. Absolutely good vibes. Send those to me via subscribing. All right, I'm done plugging. all that fun jazz. Absolutely appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you. We're building something damn cool here. Love each and every one of you, and I will see you all in the next one. We will have the Bronco Award video up. We did get the graphics finished up on that. Took Ender a minute. He was sick. Happy they're done. So we will have that up either later today or tomorrow at some point. That'll be fun. Can't wait to show you guys that. Again, I'm plugging one more time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Miles, out skis.